Okay, so the recorder's on, and this is Larry Morrissey, and today's April 22nd, 2016, and I'm in the home of Roy and Carol McNulty. Ray McNulty.
Matt be fine.
Mac?
Yeah.
Okay. Ray and Carol McNulty, and they are longtime members of Wells Church, and I'm here to talk with them about their time at the church and kind of your involvement there, and just, kind of a little bit about your own history at Wells. And this is part of the Wells Oral History Project. Maybe if we could start off, if each of you could maybe just talk a little bit about your own kind of spiritual background, if you were raised up in church and kind of your families, as growing up, kind of what your history was in that regard.
Okay, I was born and raised in rural Nebraska, and we went to the Methodist Church. At the time, it was called the EUB Church, which was Evangelical United Brethren. And we went there to the church because that was the only church in our little town in Bushnell, Nebraska. And we went to Sunday school there, and then once a month we would have a preacher come and would preach. And my father was not very spiritual, and he was very spiritual, but he wasn't a churchgoer, so he never would go. But Mom would get us up, and I had 5 brothers and sisters, so 6 of us, and we'd all go to Sunday school, and we loved it. And then later on, I think probably after I had left there and was an adult, it turned into the United Methodist Church because they combined with the EUB. And so as my adult life, I went for a while where I didn't go to church at all anywhere. I was married to a black man, and because of that, I didn't feel very confident being in church anywhere. It seemed like I didn't fit anywhere. My children didn't fit. So I took a space away from church, and then later on when I got a little older, I realized that it didn't matter about the church necessarily. I needed to go for myself and my children. So I started taking them back again to the United Methodist Church because that's where I had belonged before. And then fast forward up to a little bit today, my husband and I, this is our second marriages, but we have a blended family. And we would go to a church. When I moved to Jackson, I moved here from Meridian, Mississippi. When I moved to Jackson and brought my family, we would go to one church over here, and then we would come back to Wells. And then we'd go try another church, and we would come back to Wells. And we'd try another church and come back to Wells. And my husband, who he will tell you that wasn't born and raised a Methodist, but so I don't know that he wanted to try.
Well,
Start from where
my
you
wife, Cal, she do all the talking, man. And I number that shit here and whatever that. But I grew up down in Summit, not too far from Macomb. I was way about my mom and my granddaddy, my mama's daddy. And he was a superintendent. I grew up under the holiness. I don't know, you know what holiness is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Sanctified, all there. My granddaddy was a superintendent. And we always had to read the Bible to him. And coming up, we took turns. They didn't let me read that much to him. Hey, and that was the best thing for me. But, yeah, I grew up in a safe, and I do feel there is a natural being, a super being somewhere. And after I grew up, went off, finished high school, went out to the military, came back home, went to Vietnam, came back home and in the Navy. And I had one of the best things happened to me was meeting my wife here. And yes, we went to the Baptist Church for a while, going back and forth, trying to find something that would make both of us feel a bit more at ease. And we ended up going to Wales and felt at home. And I still feel at ease, not at ease sometimes, because the way I was about when you go to church on Sunday, when you go into the sanctuary, that will hold the ground. You didn't take no cup. You didn't drink it. You didn't take nothing inside the sanctuary. and it was a protocol that thing was done a certain way. But one I got in well with my wife, I still ask her sometimes, you know, is this the way before we do this? But I do feel at home in well. And the people, you know, the people that go to well, you can't do nothing but feel at home with them. You know, they make you feel, yeah, oh, that's my cousin over there. That's my uncle. You know, you at home. You know, so we've been going there, what, 12,
Over
14
13
years?
years, something
14
like that.
years. And we became members after 4 or 5. That's what, a couple of years.
Well, that's another thing. We went for quite a while, it seemed like. And like I said, we would go and try another church,
Yeah.
come back,
Go
go
and
try
come
another
back.
church. And finally, I just looked at him and said, Mac, we keep coming back to
Yeah.
Wells. And he said, well, yeah, I like it there too. And I said, why don't we just join? And then, so I guess when we finally decided to join, Reverend Tonkel they kind of all laughed at us like, wait a minute, you're not members? Because we had already
going that long.
started, we've been going a long time, and we started helping out and stuff. One of the nicest things that happened to us when we came to Wells, and there's a lady who we call our pew partner. Her name is Pat, and Miss Pat Ladner. We sat on the pew with her, and the very first time, actually Mac, I think, said to her, do you mind if we sit by you? And she said, oh, no, come on. And we've been sitting by her for 13 more years, and now we're greeters at the door when you come in. We like to, Pat and I are greeters, and then Mac takes up collection every Sunday.
Yeah, we
We
part of the family, man.
And I
Part
don't
of the
know how
house.
we really got those
Yeah.
jobs. I think we just, one time they asked us, will we do it? And
Yeah,
here we go.
and from that point on, it appeared that we, you know, this mine is yours. You know, you know, and again, that what Will to me have the impression is, and what I get from Will by being a member there, is that a big family, man. You know, everybody that seemed to fit in. And we all have these cousins, the nephews, that we all have their odd idea of what we all about. But I think at Well, we all seem to fit in, seem to feel at ease with each other. And every Sunday we get forward going to Well, man.
Well, we have a strange, eclectic family. We've got a blended family, and we have older grandkids, younger grandkids.
Yeah.
We have black kids, white kids, every shade in between.
Yeah.
And we're just a big, eclectic family. Well, when we came to Wells, as they are too. They're a big, eclectic family as well, and I think that's why we felt confident and comfortable there.
Yeah.
Everybody's always made us feel very welcome.
Whenever you come and go for a couple Sunday, it seems like it keep on calling you back. You know, so got to invite you to come to Well, man. You know, so we look forward to it, and some of the people that go there, you know, they were saying we always trying to reach out and find that place where we fit. It don't matter who you are or what you are, you know, all that is outside the door. But when you come in the Well, you know, everybody seems to that fit right in. And right now, I think we found what we've been looking for, and that at Well. And my wife talking about moving one time to relocating, and I told her, well, the only time that you move me when you call the undertaker to get me. So I'm saying this too, in a sense. When that time come, I hope to be at Will. So basically that where we are, man. You know, we at peace, feel good, and got two of the grandboys that John Will, didn't they? Anthony and Shan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we've had numerous of our grandchildren that have been baptized there and confirmed there.
Yeah.
Now the two I'm talking about are adults, but now we have two more that we're taking every Sunday to church because their parents don't take them to church, and so we've just gone on to our second generation.
Then did you all meet here in Jackson?
No. Well, yes,
Yeah,
actually.
We both were in the Navy.
Okay.
And
Navy Reserve.
yeah, meet once a month down by the fairground. And that happened to,
I lived in Jackson,
yeah,
and Mac lived here, and we had been drilling our
weekends.
our weekend a month here in Jackson, and Mac, I've been single for a while, and he had too, and we weren't really interested in finding a girlfriend and boyfriend necessarily, but we'd known each other for a long time, and we're friends. And one time he called me up and said, when you come to drill this weekend, you want to go to the movies or like out to eat or something? I said, like a date? And he said, well, it doesn't have to be. And he's a patient man. And we finally decided that this was pretty good. So I moved to Jackson because it was easier for me to move. I'm a nurse. And he was in the fire department and had been for a long time. I think you were a captain when we first met. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Captain.
And so then we moved over here, and all of our children, we have 3 children, and they were all teenagers, teenagers, yeah. And but everybody got along good, and we've done well ever since.
22
Mac's the
years
best. 23 years, honey, but who's
Okay.
counting?
You're very close.
Time flies when you're having fun. So, but yeah, we've been married 23 years. So, a good 23 years.
Good. So how did you first find out about Wells? Did someone tell you? How did you? Yeah, that's also interesting.
I went to Wells Fest.
Oh, okay.
And at Wells Fest, I took, well, I don't know if I took my kids or I don't think they were, no, must have been
No, that you
my
and I
grandkids.
went one Sunday. And
But the first time is when a lady that I worked with asked me to go to Wells Fest, and we went to Wells Fest, and then after we went to Wells Fest, we had a good time, and she said, why don't you just come to church? And I think that's exactly how we started.
She was a member?
She was a member.
Okay.
And I'm not really, I'm trying to think of who that was, and that's very sad that I don't remember that.
oh no. But it was a good thing for us. It was a good thing for us. And yeah, I said, I was going through different safe. A member of safe
You were a
right
member
down
of
on Beatty
Cade's-
Avenue.
He was a member of Cade's Chapel.
yeah,
That's where he was
I
going.
on the usher board, on a different committee and all that. And thing that seemed to, you reach a point that where you feel unease and
Well, to tell the truth, I felt uncomfortable going there. It was me. The people were very nice,
Yeah.
but they were very stuffy,
well,
and it just was different.
Safe, oh man,
And it was just very different.
yeah, more about safe, because on Sunday, you put on your robe, you go in the safe, on holy ground, and that Satan way down you're done. And yeah, I said, but in Wales, it more at ease, more open, and whole totally different atmosphere.
And that's one of the things I love about Wells. One of the things that he's a little less comfortable with, because Mac he was like I said, he was a Pentecostal, so he was a pretty strict.
Pentecostal, is that what you call it?
Yeah, well, holiness. I don't know,
Holiness.
but he was pretty strict. Everybody had to dress up. Everybody had to not talk while the preacher's talking, and our church is just laid back. Our church is easy. You
Yeah.
can dress up if you'd like, because lots of people.
Yeah.
Mac always wears a suit to church, always, and because that's his tradition, and that's fine. But you can see people with suits on, and you can see people with blue jeans and T-shirts on, and everybody is just as welcome. And you can see people who are attorneys or physicians, and you can see people who are they're going to church because they've been mandated by the court system as part of their probation, and everything in between. And everybody is just as welcome there. And that's one of the things I love about Wells. you know. But like I said, it's a little hard on someone who is a little stricter. My husband has told this analogy about our marriage, which is, do you mind me telling about the kite? Do you mind?
Why not?
One time Mac was talking to some people about our marriage, and he said, which I thought was the most sweetest thing ever. I didn't know where he was going, but he
Yeah, I
said,
told you, she keep it with all that, man.
he said,
I
he
know.
said our marriage was like a kite, and he said if I didn't hold on to Carol's tail, she would go to the moon. And I went, wait a minute. And he said, but if I had never met her, I would have never been lifted up. And I just think that is just the best thing ever. But he's right. We're opposite. He's quiet, doesn't say too much. I talk all the time. He's very
She
serious.
get mushy all the time.
He's very serious. I think I was serious once, but I think it was a mistake. Yeah. He's very squared away. I'm really not. But I think that's why it makes us work. I don't know.
She keep me on base.
And you keep me on base, brother.
And so it all worked together. And I got to be the way I am because the way I was brought up in my background and that basic who I am and that being in society the way we are now, I had to be the way I had to carry myself a certain way because I had to represent who I am, where I came from, and my family. A totally different way than you or Cal had to represent yourself.
And then you're ex-military, and
yeah.
was 38 years on the fire department. So he's always been a real straight up guy.
There will come a time
and
where
I wear
let myself go and react, but.
And I wear pajamas to work. So what do you scrubs. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first visit to Wells? And I'm just curious about what stands out in your memory that it's kind of pointed at.
Besides our dealing with Pat, our friend, our pew partner, who was so kind and told us to sit on the pew with her. One of the second things I noticed and one of the things I love about our service that happens every Sunday is we have a community time where everybody speaks to everybody, and just, in fact, sometimes they have to say, okay, that's enough, y'all sit down and be quiet. But people get up and just come and say, welcome, and how are you, and that kind of thing, and shake your hand. Second thing I like a lot about, too, is I know Catholics do communion every Sunday. Most Christian churches do not. And the first Sunday we have communion, but every Sunday we have a little place where where you can take communion every Sunday if you'd like to, which I think is really like. Do you remember the first time we went?
Phrase something, yeah.
What, can you think of anything specific about?
Well, basically, what turned me on the well was that the people, that simple, everyday, basic people, and it wasn't no facade, no putting on, and carry yourself a certain way. So I go to well for the fellowship and for the bonding of the people there. The pastor, he talked to you. Yeah, he been talking to you every day. Been with you every day, and that the idea that and we don't call him pastor, we call him Keith. And that even today I find that so hard. That hard.
And he's very insistent on that, right? Too.
Yes, yeah. and he, I mean, I don't think he would ever get offended if you call him Reverend or Pastor Keith, but that's, he expects everyone just to call them Keith.
Yeah, but
Keith.
when I talk to him, around him, I call him Pastor or Reverend, because that's the way I was brought up.
Right. Respect.
Yeah. And sometimes people call him Keith and joke with him. I find that hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when he get up in the pulpit to talk, that is the time that everybody should be quiet. But I find out that it make you a bit more open and at ease because he want it to be that way. See, so and they're a good feeling, man.
he doesn't want that separation.
No,
I
no,
guess.
he
Him
don't.
being up
Yeah,
above you
yeah,
or whatever.
he don't. And that what I find that one of the things that I enjoy going to well. That again, that the pastor, you know, he want to be among you. He want you to feel at ease around him. And I find that hard to do sometimes because he's the pastor. But I enjoy going to well, and I guess I will continue to, you know, uh, because I look forward to it. I look forward going there on Sunday. I look forward to that being part of a great group of people, man. You know, and we all there for the same thing. You know, and that's the best part about it. You know, there's no separation. And there's no older group here, you know, different group. When you walk in that door, one big family, man. You know, one big kinfolk family. You know, that's how I look at it. See, so uh, I'm glad that we found Will, and glad that we look at it as a opportunity to become part of the family. Open arms. So.
Are there ministries or things that they do in particular that you guys have had an interest in or been involved with?
Yeah, I've been on several mission trips. We used to go to Mexico, and I went to Mexico many years in a row, and Nicaragua before. And I'm sad that we don't do those as much anymore. There were several reasons that we've stopped doing them. We spend our money elsewhere sometimes. And the ministry, the specific one in Mexico, we had kind of outgrown the area. We had went there and built a clinic, built a church, built a little place above the church, and we'd done pretty much what we'd set out to do in that, and we have left them with a great legacy to carry on, and so we kind of got away from that. I also taught Sunday school for a lot of years. I taught 4th and 5th grade, taught junior high, taught high school for a little while, and then came back. And then, like I said, Mac and I are ushers and greeters. And like I said, I'm not really sure how we got that job, but we like it. Mac's also, tell them the boards that you're on. You're on a couple of boards. I'm on the parish, pastor parish board, but you're on, on the administrative board and the financial. What are you on?
The administration and financial board. And they're a good thing. You know, I was a member of other states on different boards. But I enjoy doing that. I enjoy taking part and being part of the inner side of it, the finance side, and also the administration board, that to see how we function within the state itself.
Which surprised Mac a lot, I think, when he got on the financial board, because I guess Wells doesn't want to blow our own horn much, and to find out how much money we give away. We give a huge amount of our budget away to different groups. Every Tuesday morning we give away groceries,
food and stuff,
food and everything.
And not only the idea of giving food to the neighborhood, but to people who in need, but to be able to sit down with them and help them just to get a graduation. Those basic need things that a lot of people take for granted. And to be able to help someone to get a graduation, and you figure, hey, you gotta do that.
Or
well,
one of the times they were helping some people on the Tuesday morning, and this one lady never did want anything. It seemed like she always wanted stuff that you didn't have to cook, and so they just kind of inquired about that, and come to find out she didn't have a stove. So they helped her buy a stove. And a lot of people don't have any way to either get their medicine, like going, and so we kind of have partnered with the Jackson Medical Mall to help people in avenues that they need to do. You know, if they need to get their medicines that they need to do. And then during Wells Fest, I do the children's crafts, and I've done that for a lot of years. And last year, someone asked me, have you ever seen this booth? These guys sell this. I said, no, I have seen nothing except for the last few years, except the children's crafts. That's if you don't come there, you don't see Carol. But that's all I do. But I love that. I truly love it, and that's kind of my gift, I guess, because I don't. I always we always have to think up some thrifty crafts because we have to be thrifty. But I don't receive any money back. I spend my own money on the crafts, and I get all my own helpers and that kind of stuff. But the reason I do that is because that's my gift to Wells. I like doing that, and that's one thing I could do every year.
I remember the sand pile. When my
Love
boys
the sand
were-
pile.
yes, that was-
Yeah.
We spent at least an hour or two there every
Yeah.
year.
And I have people at where I work at River Oaks Hospital, and I have people at work that save me. This sounds so silly, but when you go to the McDonald's or somewhere and they give you those little toys in the kids' meals that nobody ever wants, they look at them and they collect those for me because we give them away as prizes. Like we hide them in the sand pile for your kids to find. But because it's a carnival that just gives away those little prizes, then I save those. And I remember David Morgan, because I usually by the end of the year I have a big garbage bag full of prizes. And he'll always say, did you get us any prizes this year? And I'm like, yeah. So I have people from all over the hospital bringing me prizes that we save up. So we recycle.
Very good. One thing you guys were talking about the finances, and I think other people have told me kind of the mindset of Wells is a little different in terms of giving. There isn't kind of that structured kind of like, all right, you got to sign your card kind of thing. And I hope you could talk a little bit about that.
I think everybody knows, you're supposed to tithe 10%, and that's all wonderful and good, but you will never, and my husband is a little, again, because he's a strict person, and he thinks that maybe that ought to be talked about a little bit more at our church, but my minister Keith never asked for money. And one time we were a little short, and he said, I know that money will follow good. If you do good, money will follow. And he got up and said that, and it did. We were a little short, and presto changeo, people were wonderful at Wells, and they gave, and we were back to where we needed to be. In fact, almost every Sunday he'll say, please give us your gifts, but if you need a little something, you can take it out. Now, he said, I don't take out too much, but he'll say, if you need $1 or $2, please take $1 or $2. And I thought to myself, I remember growing up and saying, okay, it's our anniversary, or it's the pastor's Sunday or whatever, and you're expected to give this much, that much, and sometimes told dollar amounts. Like we expect every family to give $100, or we expect, never happens at our church. And we, like I said, we give phenomenal amounts of money away that is just, I really didn't even, I knew that we had lots of projects that we give to, lots of charities that we do, but I had no idea the dollar amount about how much we give.
Yeah, we'll give basically because it's the right thing to do, man. People talking about being a Christian. They talking about they pay their tithe, but the people in real give from the heart, and that's the difference. I had been a member of a different congregation where you as a family group, you had to give so much money due to the fact who you are. And but over well on Sunday or during that month period, or you do tithe, whatever, you give because you want to. You're not giving because you have to. See, and that is a bit different. You giving because it's the right thing to do, and you giving from your heart. That's simple.
And one of our mottos or mantra at Wells is loving. What is it? Loving, caring, sharing.
Yeah.
And that's written. You
It
see
speaks
that
for
written
itself.
on a lot, and that's the truth.
It
I
speaks for
mean,
itself.
one of the reasons that I love Wells too. We live in we're in a depressed neighborhood. Our church is never, it's almost 90 years old, it's never left from that area. When a lot of other people have went and built new churches elsewhere, they've stayed and embraced the area. And all up and down the 2 or 3 streets that our church is on, we've had Habitat houses, and we've bought houses and put people in houses. And I mean, we have just stayed there. And instead of spending our money maybe on a new parking lot or new pews, we have old pews with no cushions on them. But Keith says that's to keep us awake. Maybe, but I love those old pews. But our church is old, but it is wonderful. And that's because we spend our money on things that we think are good deeds. We don't spend necessarily our money on a bigger, prettier house. And I love that about Wells. I love that it's a little old church in the Dale that never outgrew itself and went somewhere bigger. It's now I wish we were busting at the seams. I wish our congregation was bigger, but it seems that we still
And the
tend to
congregation
do.
is the people who want to be there, who want to be a part of Well, and want to put into the community itself. A safety for would be the community around it. But what Cal mentioned was that there were times that people will go to church on Sunday, go during the week, and they will help build what around there, not that the concrete, and not the brick, and that what make Wales so good, it's the people in that church, because what they doing and what we are doing, we trying to uplift what around us, and that basically what they all about.
But we do have people that come from far and wide. I mean, we have people that come from
Madison, Rankin County, every Sunday,
everywhere just to come to that
and they
church for that reason.
Other states to come to Will, and that will make it good. See,
People, they make that conscious choice to come.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We do. We live in Jackson, but we pass lots of churches to go there as well. But there are a lot of our church members who actually don't live in Jackson proper. They live farther away that choose to make that drive. Mm-hmm. They come to Wells.
And that preach for itself, and that's what they all about anyway. Come to Will. Come be part of a great thing that happened right here. And Mohawk, that the idea to come and share some good time. Not only to hear Reverend Tonka talk about the Bible and tell and teach her, but to be able to become a part and to have people that you feel at ease with. We all there, and we all have our reason to go to church. It don't matter what congregation or what denomination. It's that the idea that we all looking for that one thing that we think we all were born with, and that is to get close to God. And there are many different ways of doing that, and everybody do it for their own reason. But we tend to want you to be at ease, and you feel at ease, and that goes a long way. That whole lot of people trying to find that out there somewhere. But I promise you, if you go to Well and you go one time, it's a good possibility you come back, go again, and for you realize you remember Well, man. So it's good.
And there's one other thing that I think that is a big draw or wonderful. Our a lot of churches are hell and damnation, and they're the preacher or God is a kind of finger pointer saying you need to do this and you need to do that, and this is how you get to heaven, and this is how you go to hell. Ours is a loving, loving, loving church, and even the way that Keith preaches, he preaches that he'll tell a good story, but and it'll always bring it back to the scripture, but it's always loving, in a loving, tender, wonderful way. Never a pressure. It's always and that God wants us to be good people. He wants us to be, not that you better or else. And I love that, because I've gone to a church or two where it's kind of a finger pointer, and you know.
Yeah.
And that's not like that church at all. Our church is we love you and we want you to be good people and we want you to be good
Come
Christians.
as you are.
Yep.
So,
You guys kind of hit on this as well, but it also seems like in terms of like becoming a member, that they're much more like, they let you come and let you go. It isn't like, all right, now let's sign you
Yeah.
up and get you on
Yeah.
the roster
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Keith also makes a big point of not saying, you know how you say, at the end of the sermon, you all say, want everybody to come down. I want someone to come. And sometimes churches will keep on singing until somebody comes forward in order to join the church. Well, our church is not like that. We truly want you to come and be a member of our church, but it's kind of on your own terms. So we have lay ministers, and we also we have people who actually go to often learn how to be a lay minister. But mostly at our church, if you sign up and if you want to be a lay minister, they give you a little time at the first of the service to tell your story, and then you get to be a reader and that kind of thing. But if you're not a member at Wells, that's okay. And if you want to take communion, but you're not really, everyone's welcome. You don't have to be a member of Wells. You don't have to be a certain category. You don't have to. They do have, like for children, and they did at one time for adults, but have confirmation classes. And that's really just to teach you about Methodism, being a Methodist, and that kind of thing. And I think that's kind of important for you to understand that. But if you never wanted to do all those things, you would still be just as welcome at Wells. They just want you to come. They want you to please come and please, feel comfortable and be closer to God when you get there. And that's, there's no real, we like your name on the book and to say that you're a member, but like I said, we came and went so many, we would go and come back, and finally when we did join, they said, "You're not members, really?" I didn't, I figured you've been here long enough that you probably were. But there was no sign of the book and all that. That wasn't it.
Tell me about the Sunday school and especially the education of children and is there anything distinctive in the way that Wells does that element of their ministry?
I don't know that it's distinctive, but it's not. We have our Sunday school. One of the nice things about our Sunday school is when Mac was saying it, the embracing the neighborhood and stuff. We have a lot of children that come to Sunday school there and to youth group there. That I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's the only introduction that they have to church or God at all. And we kind of seek out those people and say, please come. We'd love for you to come into the neighborhood and come. And so we have lots of wonderful teachers that teach there. And I'm trying to think if we do have a nice curriculum that we go by. But a couple of our Sunday school teachers are actually teachers, school teachers that are good. I never was that. And when I had a little apprehension, I got asked to come and be a junior high teacher. And I said, well, I'm not really sure that I am qualified to be that. And they said, well, we do have a little instruction that we go by. And they've got we get our stuff from Cokesbury, which is a Christian store that has a United Methodist things there. And we have a curriculum. But one of the fun things, and so I had that to follow. But their criteria was, do you love children? And do you love the Lord? And if those were the two things, I fit those criteria. So they said, please come and help me. So I had a partner with me. And then after a while, it became my project. But one of the things that we did that was kind of fun that I liked is one Sunday a month, we had our Sunday school class in the kitchen because these were 4th and 5th graders. And so we would make a snack. And for example, we made little boats when we were learning about Moses. So we made these little, and they were made out of Chinese noodles, little haystacks. And we put a little baby on the inside and swum them down the river. And at Easter time, we had these little rolls that we made, and on the inside of them we put marshmallows, so that we had God who was in the tomb, and then when we put them in the oven and cooked them, when you opened them, of course, the marshmallow had melted away, and God had he rolled away opened up the tomb, and he was no longer there. And so we'd have to, and sometimes it was a stretch, but we'd always try to find a way. But it was something fun that was kind of different for the children. And I think they still, even now, we have wonderful helpers with the kids in Ashley, and but that she's always finds something fun and cultural sometimes for the kids to do that they might not get an opportunity to do. And so she will, like, sometimes they'll go to a play or maybe even go to the ball game, or things that kids in that neighborhood in specifically would not have a chance to do. And then the second thing they do is kids in the neighborhood may never have the opportunity to be friends with other kids that are not in their neighborhood. And that's one place at church that everybody is kind of on the same page. And that is a wonderful lesson for those children as well, to see that everyone doesn't come from the same place and do the same thing. And I appreciate that too, even though it's so like-minded. They're all from different, it's just like our congregation, they're all from different areas.
What about the music at church? Anything that stands out, or things that, you know?
I would say, again, my background. When we go to say, when I would come here, the music and the song are the same, but they were sung a different way. You know, you got to have soul, man. You know, but definitely, we all got a great choir, and it appeared that the song, the music, it basically the same. You know, it don't matter, you know, what station you go to. You know, you got to take part in it to become part of it. And
Macking like a tambourine, I know.
well, well, pretty good, man. You know, you me at that. I don't have no problem with that. I don't have no problem with that.
Mac might like a drum and a tambourine a little better,
A little
but
more rhythm
yeah,
for
he
holiness,
would like a little
yeah.
note. Yeah, he
Yeah,
would like a
yeah.
little more rhythm.
And you got to see, sometimes people fall out, man. It would help. Yeah.
Are there, you know, I'm curious also about, you know, people have talked some about, you know, Keith is, you know, he's been there for over 40 years, yeah, and there's eventually going to be the transition to someone new, and I'm just, some people, I've just been having different people talk about kind of their thoughts about, because he is so much identified with the church, you know.
You go, because
I would say this, and I may be talking out of turn, so you may have to cut that out.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do feel and I do worry that William Tonker, the safety built around people and the beliefs, but to me, William Tonker is a great part of the safe man, and I think there may come a time that he may not be there, and I think that we're gonna have to feel or decide where we're gonna go from there. And I know William Tonker is not the safe, but he, by him being there, they're gonna be an issue that we're gonna have to deal with. And when he's not there, I think we're gonna, you know, we all gonna have to take a deep breath. And I think the safe gonna survive. But by him being the pastor for that period of time and over year and year, I think we're gonna have to regroup somewhere. And again, William Tonker is not the safe air whole, but at the same time, he is a great part of it. Because the old saying is, the shepherd got to get his sheep together. When the shepherd the not there, and all you know and all you have long with William Tonker, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard, but it will survive. It will yield in the same direction, but we may have to go a different way to get there. And I think a whole lot of people gonna look at it. What do we do now? Where do we go to from here? And I think we all gonna get back to William Tonker and say, this. I think what we want what to do, and that is continue with those 3 words.
Loving, caring, and sharing.
Yeah, that's it. That's the program.
And Mac and I we have a concern with that. Several reasons. We've had associate pastors in the past who we've always liked. It's not that's not the issue, but that as we go through those, our corner post and stay is always Keith, and I don't think there will ever be which I know there's no other Keith, but like Max said, if there comes a time then that he is not there, that will be a kind of a turning point that we'll have to a bridge we'll have to cross at that time.
We'll survive.
And I think they will because because it has such a stronghold.
Yeah.
But it might be in a different kind of light. We're praying that it keeps its Keithness, even long past him and us and everyone else. But we pray about that a lot.
We're a big family, a great family. They got your family here, you at home, whatever. The monarch, the head post. We all need that guidance, and we tend to look for that person we feel at ease with, that we want to talk to, and every Sunday morning we come there to deal God, He do give God to remind us that that God is in control, but also and I'm not comparing Keith to anything other than the pastor. And all depends on what you consider a pastor is. I look at things different. Everybody that you talk to, or everybody that go to well, look at things different somewhat. But we all there for one day, to glorify God. And Keith tend to be the person that on Sunday morning we get to be in that pulpit, and will survive. Let me just put it that way. And Keith had laid the foundation for that too. So they all gonna say about that, man. So
Are there things that you see as opportunities in the future for the church, or that the strengths that you have, you can see how it could grow in this way or that way, or that there's,
One of the things that I would like to see us do and grow, and I don't really know how this would come into fruition. I don't know how we would actually do this, but we want to be part of our community, and we reach out to people to be our community. But I would like to see maybe some of the people that are long-term people in our church be actually the people who live there. I would like to see those Tuesday people. I know they come on Tuesdays to get groceries, but I wish they would come Sunday too and sit on our pews. And I wish that if we had a Sunday school teacher or associate pastor, someone that would come from, that would look like the people in our neighborhood, that maybe that would, because I'm so fearful that, Mac and I are retirement age. We're in our 60s. A lot of our congregation are old. And I just don't want to see it die away. And that's a big concern with mine. So what I would like to see, and I'm not sure, like I said, how that can happen, because I'm not sure we're doing, I feel like we're doing the right things. I'm not just sure why it's not happening. But I would like to see our church get a lot of young people or young adults with children and stuff, so our church could continue, because it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But I'm fearful that if once the people like us who are older, if we're gone, then our church will die away, and I don't want that to ever happen. So,
But Wells is kind of just this very unique place that brings so many, I'm going to say, some people who were rejected or felt not welcome in churches,
Yes.
and they maybe grew up in that church, but they end up at Wells because they.
oh,
it's
if you
kind of the
went,
place.
and you're probably finding this out by doing the oral history, every person in our church probably, I mean, I think I might be a little unique because I've always been a Methodist pretty much all my life. But I mean, we have every denomination and pretty much every part, because like you said, it's a big eclectic mess of people. That draw, I don't think will change ever either.
Yeah,
But you still have to have.
I think we'll offer something that most safe said they offer, but they really don't. And it's not intention. But the one thing about Well, if you look around the congregation in Well, what you don't see is different makeup of people. And William Tucker, and I say William Tucker, he always had this to offer people. Come, as you are. You don't have to, and that's what the Bible teach, man. Come there as you are, and that's the key to the whole thing.
And I think especially right now, especially in Mississippi, where we have people that are Christians who are coming on TV and saying that they want to eliminate this group of people or that group of people.
Don't get political.
I'm not trying to get political. I'm just saying that, let me go back to my original statement probably, that Wells is a loving church, and we want everyone to feel welcome and comfortable there.
Come as you are.
Come as you are, yeah, and be, and because I think that when you think of Christianity, I think we not only walk the walk, talk the talk, we walk the walk.
Yeah.
Our church says that we really want you all to come, but they don't tell you, but you got to wear a tie on Sunday.
Yeah.
Or come as you are, but you have to tithe 10%.
Yeah. Society dictates certain things now. You know that. We all do. Income, position, big car. And people don't want to talk about that, but that what y'all about now. But again, we'll have some of all that everyday people, praying everyday people, male, female, black and white, and basic, that was 64 to be about, man. Praising God, that here you are, and who you are. Not because my buddy go to well, or I go to well, or in a particular income bracket. That's the reason I go. Profession people go over here. That's where all profession people go. And you look around well have that already. And people come to well, that's for their beliefs and that's who you are, man. Not who I pretend to be, or not because what society dictates.
We go to the big church downtown,
yeah,
or we go to the nice church out here, or we go to the whatever.
You go to well
because you want to go there. You intentionally go there.
And that basic that the whole dang a nutshell.
And you're right. I hope that always will be an opening for people.
No pretending.
Are there other ministries or projects that maybe you've not been actively involved in, but that you have an interest in, or that you support there, or that you want to mention?
Well, and this bad on my part. And I said my part. I tend to, there's volunteer thing that I do out in the community, outside Will, that I don't get involved with Will in. And that's something that I got to put in place. Start devoting more time. Got men breakfast that they have. I need to go, but I don't. And here's the reason why. Got so now I retire, I work, I do whatever. And I am a type of person, I have always been that way. I have been the type of person that I enjoy me, not being selfish. I enjoy that the solitude of being away from everybody.
He's a homebody. Just say it, tell it like it is, brother.
Well,
it's a home.
Yeah. I tell my wife all the time, and I want to move out there in the middle of a field,
He
by
could-
myself.
Matt could move to a deserted island, and I guess I could come visit him every now and then because he would be perfectly okay with that. I'm not. I want to be. I like to live in town, and I like to be social a little more.
So and yeah, I said, that's something that I got to make adjustment. And at my age, I'm not gonna make the adjustment.
But one of the things that I like about Wells too is that's really not a requirement either. I mean,
Yeah,
that sounds silly,
that's right.
but I could go every day to church and he wouldn't, and nobody would think that there must be something wrong with him or that, it's just whatever you click into what you want to do. One of the things I'd like to do more, I work every day, I work 5 days a week, but I would love to come to the Tuesday when they give away the groceries and stuff because I'm a nurse and I would like to see if anybody needed my help that kind of way. And because I've got to do that briefly at mission trips and stuff, but I would like that to actually be a full-time thing at least one day a week at our church if I could do blood pressures or those kind of things. But I don't have an opportunity right now, but I intend to
Soon as you
retire.
retire, that will be
I
your project.
intend to retire in a year or two, so maybe I can give my
a year
project.
Or 2. We're 1 year.
Yeah. But that's one of the things I'd like to do is see if I could be of help as a nurse more to the people in the community and that kind of stuff.
That they could use that, for sure, yeah. Well, I'm looking at my list. I think we've covered pretty much what I came to ask you. Was there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to make sure and speak about before we shut down the recorder for the night?
I would say that for me, and I hope that, see, my wife do all the talking, and I'm more of a foundation support person. But I think that God had put me and my wife at the right place, the right time, where we need to be at Will. And I look forward to the companionship, and most of all, I had always been a person that me and God talk all the time. I don't know if everybody know that or not,
Actually,
but-
my husband went to seminary.
Yeah.
He went to Baptist seminary. So,
Yeah.
and he felt like, I'm telling on you now, but he felt like in order for you to be a minister, and everybody doesn't feel like this, but that you have to be called. And he felt prepared, but not called.
Yeah.
But he went into a job that he spent 40 years in service as a firefighter. And he was a military policeman in the military, and that says volumes right there. So, and the same with me. I never did go to seminary school or anything, but I always wanted to have a big place in the church as well. And again, I'm a nurse, so I've spent my whole life in service as well. So I think that kind of that's our niche that we came. And again, like Max said, I just think that we were looking for a church, we were looking for a place, and Wells was the place. And I think it's it's always going to be our place.
And we haven't, once we started going to well, I say we made adjustment, and I think we at peace where we are, and hope to put out with our time there.
And we just pray that we have another good 90 years at well, since we're having a 90-year party this summer.
Oh, really? Okay. Great.
It's our. Did you know that
I didn't know that.
this summer, and I'm not really sure, it's in July, I think, but it'll be the 90th anniversary of Wells
Wow.
Church. So
That's great.
we'll let you know when it is.
All right, that sounds good. Well, thank you both very much.
You're very
Appreciate
welcome.
Your time.
Thank you.